Welcome to the Northeast Kingdom Voice. I'm your host, Scott Wheeler. Today's guests are here to talk about dieting and the dangers of fad diets. On my far left is Mary Hoadley, a local health guru, and Todd Pronto, the executive director of NEK-TV. And why are you with us, Todd? Are you here just to kind of like monitor us since you're the boss?
Yeah, I guess I'm just making sure that no inappropriate
language
is being
and
used.
no physical contact.
That's likely.
Yeah. I don't know what I'm doing here, to be honest.
Okay. All right.
I'm just here. It's good times.
So we're here to talk about, well, particularly in the news, it seems like there's so many ways to lose weight. Do this, eat bananas for every meal, lose weight. Drink water, don't eat anything, lose weight. Is there a quick fix to losing weight, Mary?
So I think what's going on is society is just so desperate to keep up with the Joneses, to be as thin as they can be and to lose weight. So everyone's looking for the fastest way possible, the quick fix. They don't care how much money they have to spend. They don't care if they have to starve, as long as they can lose weight really fast. Is it going to sustain them? Are they going to stay fit? Are they going to stay skinny? We all know the answer to that. No, there is no quick fix. When it comes down to it, it's all about lifestyle changes, calories in, calories out, eating real foods, non-packaged foods, and exercising, and stress management and all those things that you won't find in a fad diet.
Now, let's back up a little bit. Who is Mary Hoadley? We didn't just snag you off the street.
Well, a little bit. So basically, I'm from Newport, and throughout the years, I've always loved fitness and nutrition and just learning about how our bodies work. And even myself, I was a super chubby kid, and I've been working against that my whole life. So slowly, I've gone and gotten different certifications, and the ones I'm representing today are my nutrition and wellness certification and my weight management certification.
Right. And Todd, you're here because I've seen photos of you back when you had hair down to here, but you were rather slender.
I had like a size 29 waist, I believe, in high school.
Right.
Up until about 21 years old when I got into radio.
Yeah. Then sitting around.
Yeah.
But I know you were telling us that you actually consider yourself still rather large, but
sure.
But on the other hand, is how much have you lost in recent months?
The last time I had a doctor's appointment, I don't own a scale. So I just wait. I have bi-monthly appointments, and then so I call it when I get weighed in. And I had lost 77 pounds since January 2nd, last month.
Right. But you also took a journey of riding the roller coaster.
Sure.
You tried when you were a radio show host, the king of morning radio.
Yeah.
You used to even publicly go through some of your roller coasters of trying different things.
I had a contest called Todd's Big Fat Stupid Diet.
You did Celsius, didn't you?
We did that Celsius. I forgot about that stuff. Was horrid.
How'd it go?
I lost 10 pounds, but Celsius, if you don't know what it is a soft drink that came out in, 2005 or 6, claiming that if you drank this soft drink, you'd lose weight. And I drank 1 or 2 a day.
How much were they? Like $3 a piece?
They were like $3 a piece. I did a promotional thing, so Celsius actually gave us the product, and myself and the receptionist, we both did it, and I lost 10 pounds and she lost 7. But
Did you find it?
What?
You lost it. Did you ever find it again?
Yes, I did. I found it again. And
that one doesn't work.
And I hated that stuff too. So, and I don't think that's even around anymore, is it?
I think it's still.
You've had some other brews that you've had. I remember one time you were mixing something on air and it came out nasty, but...
Oh, I can't remember. I don't know.
Juicing.
I tried juicing, and I really liked juicing, but it was so expensive and so time-consuming. And you really, the benefit of the juicing, I mean, I packed it in mason jars to keep the freshness in, but you really want to drink it the minute you juice it to get all the nutrients. So you'd have to like carry around a juicer, and I still use it on occasion.
But did you? But then also though, you have something else that a lot of us don't.
Not steroids juicing, by the way. I just want to clarify that.
But you're also a vegetarian.
I am. Yeah.
Which made it even more challenging.
Well, it's tough because you eat a lot of pastas and breads or did.
Now, when you're a vegetarian, you don't ever look at a bloody steak and say, "Boy, that looks good."
No, no, no. I don't.
It's the opposite.
Yeah, I don't think I was really never much of a big meat eater as a kid anyway. So the transition was easy, but I do eat fish.
Right. No, because I've known you for years, and I've you're honest with it. You packed on some pounds over a relatively short period of time. I think it was
really did.
I think a part of it was your aging too. Because it's funny. When I was a kid, I could eat anything. I sometimes now walk down junk food aisles and I look at like Oreo cookies. I mean, those things still talk to me.
Oh yeah,
and
sure.
I look at the calories I was eating. I would have to be weighed in on a truck scale if I ate like I used to. But I think you did hit a point though where your metabolism slowed.
It did, and I was doing radio and working 9 to 5 here. So I was getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning and getting home at 6, 7 o'clock at night, and pretty much it was a lot easier to just call like a pizza place and pick up a pizza one night and maybe a calzone the next night for some variety. And, it didn't work out so hot.
And now you've probably heard these stories over and over from people, haven't you?
I mean, it's pretty typical. Todd was like a lot of people working 2 jobs, so you're awake a lot longer than most people. So those are a lot more hours to eat. Stuck at a desk or stuck on the radio. You can't move around. You're racing from job to job.
It's easier
You're not
to just
home enough to cook.
Yeah, you
so
just grab some.
Grab and go. And, once you're eating pizza and calzones and things like that, that stays on the radar. It's not like, oh, I'm craving that fresh salad I had last night. Let's grab another. So it's pretty easy. And once you get going and those things are fast and quick and they taste good, you keep going until you hit a wall like you did. And then you realize you're not feeling as well as you think you should be. You're probably not sleeping as well as you should have been. And you realize, wait, that all comes back to get you in the end. Not sleeping well, working too many hours, eating poorly.
And you didn't just all of a sudden have an epiphany that, oh, geez, I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to do it right. You actually had a very scary moment in your life where you said, all right, this is no longer a game.
Yeah, I had to. I was forced to.
Yeah.
I was January 2nd, which I mentioned earlier, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And I was stubborn because I knew what it was, but all New Year's Day, I said, this is my day off. I'm not going to the emergency room.
And you hung out in the bathroom.
Yeah, I never urinated so much in my life. It was insane. But I was craving nothing but sugary drinks. And I don't usually drink. I mean, I drink water and coffee pretty much. And I knew what it was. It runs in my family. I said, oh, no. And but I think it ended up being a blessing in disguise, really.
But it was an emergency by the time Devaney actually brought you, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, she came here on January 2nd and drove. I called the hospital and I said, I need to get in today. And they said, they can't get you in until Friday. And I said, let me explain what's going on. And they're like, oh, can you come in an hour? And I said, yeah, but I was really dizzy and my eyesight was really blurry. Yeah. And so Devaney drove me in and my sugar just said high on the monitor. And that means it's 500 or above.
Yeah.
And we have no idea how high it actually was. So.
And you said they really got moving quick with a big
old
needle.
They had the needle. They said, do you know what this is? I said, yeah, because my ex-girlfriend's son was actually type 1 diabetic. Yeah. So I actually was very familiar with insulin. And they just kind of stuck it in my stomach, went, and it was there. The wild ride began.
So how long did it take you to say, okay, something's going to change here. I'm going to be under the sod?
Pretty much right then. Right. I knew the day before what it was.
When you're not feeling well and you can't function normally, you weren't going to be able to make it through a day at work. I think that's when it must have hit you. This is serious.
Yeah, sure.
If we don't take care of this, how much longer were you going to be around, to be honest? When your blood sugar is that high, your body can't function. It's dangerous.
It's bad for your pancreas.
You were driving or something like that, you could have killed yourself or somebody else.
Yeah, I could have passed out or
gone into a coma.
Yep.
So how did you? So how did this journey to weight loss begin? Because it's obvious. I've watched you melt away every time I come in here. It hasn't been a fad diet?
No.
Tapeworm?
No tapeworm. Not that I know of.
Have you heard about the tapeworm diet?
No.
No, that is.
Is this real?
You order
that's
a
true.
tapeworm, you swallow it.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
I'm a
for the
vegetarian. I couldn't do that.
yeah.
And if you're lucky, it won't kill you or eat through your intestines. Or
No,
something like
yeah,
that.
it's true.
And so what?
No, it's true. It makes it so you don't eat, but you're a vegetarian. You're swallowing it. It doesn't die. That's the way it works. And no, it's true.
Oh,
it's really
okay.
a bizarre diet that some people
Then the
use.
reality is that tapeworms don't actually eat; they just absorb. So the only things they can absorb is what's left over. You as a human would have absorbed all the calories and fat. They're just getting the leftovers. So here you are swallowing a tapeworm, which is disgusting.
That's ridiculous.
And you're not
I mean,
really
I
gonna
might have
lose
had the
any
worm in a
weight.
bottle of tequila or something.
Yeah, well, if you drink enough of those, I don't know.
So what happened? You went to a nutritionist, though.
No, I didn't. Actually,
Well, at the diet, at the doctors, they gave you stuff at least.
yeah, they gave you a bunch of pamphlets, but fortunately for me, I had done Ben's boot camp, and he actually does a metabolism makeover, and they kind of teach you how to eat healthy, and so I just went and rolled with that. The tough thing for me is the protein, because the way they teach, and I don't know if it's what you do, but you want a lean protein and a fibrous carb like a vegetable at every meal. I just did that, but the protein's a little tougher for me. Of course, I do eat eggs and fish,
yeah.
so.
Just pick up a burger every once in a while.
A veggie burger, maybe.
But
So I think I was lucky because I knew how to eat well. I just didn't do it.
yeah, but there were some things though I remember coming in here, and you were like shocked. You would even be telling me, "Look, Scott, there were things that you thought were really healthy for you."
Right?
And you'd read on the back of it, and you'd find out that healthy alternative had far more calories and nasty stuff in it than this thing that obviously looked like it had nasty stuff
Right,
in it.
yeah.
Because you did have some shocking surprises, like your salads you used to eat. I remember you telling me that now you can actually see your salad after you get done putting the dressing on it.
I a lot of times eat a salad without any dressing now. But yeah, I used to take like ranch dressing and,
Right.
it's ranch. It's from the farm, Scott. It's healthy.
Have you started exercising yet?
A little bit. I was actually telling Mary before the show, I tore a ligament in my ankle right as summer was starting. So I've been doing physical therapy, so it limits how much exercising I can do. But I do have a treadmill in my living room.
Is it used or is it used as a clothes hanger?
Both. No, I actually, when I first got it, last year in January, I'd have the treadmill going while I was watching football. So or whatever, when I get home, and I'd put a program on and walk on the treadmill. But then when I tore my ligament, it kind of slowed the treadmill down a little bit. So I can only do about 15 minutes.
You ought to go to the wellness center sometime.
I should probably do an exercise bike or something.
Come to
Bike would be less than
come to 6 o'clock in the morning. Nothing like.
I'm
I don't know
retired
if his ankle's ready for that,
No,
but
no,
he could do Pilates.
No.
I'm
or
retired from
not.
getting up that early in the morning, Scott.
When you get healthy, come at 6 in the morning, because you know why? Because you don't wake up until halfway through, and your body doesn't even know.
know.
You don't realize what you're.
Yeah,
You
but
wake
you
up the
just-
next morning, you can't move. No.
So
Great.
hearing his story is, don't a lot of people who truly lose weight and keep it off, don't they go through a lot of these back and forth before they find their place?
Well, in my last certification, the weight management one, they talked about people being in two different spots, thinking about losing weight and ready to lose weight. And I think most people, even people at a great weight, they're always thinking about it. What could I do better? What can I do here? Should I eat this? Should I not eat this? It's very different than being ready to do it. It sounded like on January 2nd, Todd was ready. He knew this is it.
I didn't have a choice. Yeah.
And when you're ready, it's just so much different. It's easier to make healthier choices. You know that's what you need to do. And when you have a health scare or something like that, you don't have a lot of choices. It's not, oh, I need to lose 10 pounds. It's, I could die if I don't get this in order.
Now, I hear some diets, they'll proclaim like 30 pounds in a month or something like that. If you even lose 30 pounds in a month, if you can, is that real weight? And is that weight you can really keep off?
So it's kind of hard to explain. A lot of people are using different, I want to almost call placebo or homeopathic things to lose weight right now, along with a very restrictive diet. With a restrictive diet, first thing you lose is water weight. You will lose some fat, some muscle, and a lot of these things are very high vegetable, so they're fibrous, they're cleansing of the system. 30 pounds in 30 days, are you going to keep that off? Probably not. Are you going to gain it back? Probably. As fast as you lost it? Probably. We have a fat cell DNA, so unless you're really, truly, slowly losing fat, letting your body adjust, it's always trying to creep back up to that number. And unless you're going to sustain what you did for 30 days, you're guaranteed to gain it back. You can't shut your metabolism off for 30 days, lose all that weight, and then think you can go back to eating how you were before.
So what is this starvation diets and these chemicals and everything? What is it, or the yo-yo, and what does it do to your organs?
Well, starvation diets, first thing they affect most often is people's mindset, their brain. They have scattered thoughts. That's all they're thinking about. It's a lot of stress on the body. And when you're only eating, let's say, 500 calories a day, that's not enough to sustain your organs for very long, or your brain. Your brain literally feeds off fats and things like that. So those things all have to kind of search throughout the body to feed themselves and to keep themselves going. And if you go long enough and you're breaking down muscle, what's one of our most important muscles? Our heart. A lot of stress on the heart. So you do these fad diets, you lose all this weight, you stress the body, and then you go right back to packing the pounds on, which is also stress on the body, stress on the heart, stress on the joints. It's so much. It'd be better for people to just set some guidelines for themselves. These are foods I'm going to avoid for right now. These are what I'm going to focus on. Yes, I can have those once in a while, but if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it right. This is just who I'm going to be. I'm not going to be a 30-day weight loss to go put on my old fat pants.
Right. And you see so many, you feel sorry for them. The ones who lose all kinds of weight, they look good, they feel good, then you run into them in a year, and they're as bigger, and you just feel really bad because you know they want to. You know the other thing I really like, though, I like going into a restaurant and seeing the calorie count. Because I have been oddly stunned, like you have with some things, to see a calorie count of, like, for example, some of those healthy salads are not really that healthy.
Right, especially someone like Todd. What do you look for first? Do you look for carbohydrates?
Now I do, yeah. Carbs are pretty much what I'm looking at.
He could be ordering a salad thinking it's all good to go, and then between maybe dried fruits and things on it, or tortilla chips, all this, he could look and see that meal was something he definitely shouldn't invest in. It was going to spike his blood sugar up. He wasn't going to feel well. So I think it's awesome. Even if you're going for what people call like a cheat meal or a splurge, if you have to look at the calories and they're like huge, it's kind of hard to be like, yeah, I want to eat 3 days of calories in this meal. Most people are going to know that's not the best choice. And if they make that choice, fine, they have to deal with it. But it helps us not to be so in denial. A lot of people say, well, I didn't know, I grew up like this, we didn't know. We're helping you know now. And if you want to know, you have to put the effort in. You can't live blindly because you will pay for it eventually.
Why are we, though? I often joke that if my ancestors could see me today pedaling a bike that doesn't even go anywhere, or hopping around like, in class, if they could only see me now, they'd be thinking, what the heck's wrong? How come our society, how come we're getting fat compared to like them?
Well, did your ancestors have all this time to do that? Probably not. They were probably working labor. They were actually using their body to do a lot more than we were. They didn't have all these chemical foods that are made in labs instead of kitchens to store for months on end. They ate real food. They ate fruits, vegetables, meats, fish, all these things that are naturally occurring that they could find. They weren't eating these packaged things, just add water, put in the microwave, and it will magically turn into a meal. Just didn't happen like that.
And I think a lot of people, such as myself, I go to the wellness center not as my only source of exercise, because, you know, half hour, 45 minutes, that's to substitute what else I do.
Yeah, for me, I mean, I work there, so those are my main workouts, and then on the weekends or my other time, that's when I go hiking and do outside things. But somebody had asked on your Facebook page, like, why would you go somewhere to work out? If you can't work out at home, you're just too distracted, TV, phone, kids, pets, or you're not going to, you're going to put the video in and watch it. Yes, come to a class, see if that will help. Everybody needs to find something that works. For some people, it's going to a gym. For some people, it's doing their treadmill while they watch TV. Whatever works for them, I say that's perfect. I don't care where they go. They just need to do it.
But I think that's the secret too, is that a lot of times, like, I never would have viewed myself as going to a class to do something. And then finally, after years of coercion, not so much coercion, but, you know, just, I had written about the Wellness Center. I had always been fairly healthy. I was once one of New England's fastest runners, but then, you know, time took its course, and I started going, and now I can't say I will never love the idea of going to it ain't like, I'm not like one of them, like, oh boy, I'm going today.
Wait, yeah.
But you have a community too.
Right, and
you have your group where you always, if they don't show up, you wonder where they are, and you don't talk during the whole thing, but you're all there, you're all in, you know who's going to leave first, because the teachers at 6 o'clock in the morning in our class, you know, the teachers will slowly head out, and then the parents of young kids, you know, we all know each other's
well, there's an accountability, and Todd, you know that. You've gone to other gyms and tried different programs. You build this kind of bond. I was talking with someone about a place I used to work at, and how everyone would show up, they'd chit-chat a little bit, and then they'd just work out. They didn't get involved in each other's lives, but if they saw each other in the store, it was like they saw their brother. They had to say hi, you know. And that's part of why fitness classes do work. There's accountability, there's that camaraderie, and just simple things like even signing in, making sure people like to see, oh, I made it to all the classes, or oh, I made it, where were you? People like that. It's a little bit of incentive and maybe a teeny bit competition that keeps them going. For some people that doesn't work. They don't want anyone to see them. They want to be out in nature. Perfect, but you have to actually do it. If you're not going to do it, it's worth trying a gym or a class or getting a personal trainer to get you motivated.
I was pretty, you know, because I have climbed Mount Washington before, but I did, over time, things did start sliding on me, just the facts of life. So last year, and my daughter wouldn't mind me saying this, my daughter, she was born, well, kind of like you, she always had to battle the bulge, Then finally back, you know, 3-4 years ago, she got on to Weight Watchers. And every pound she's ever lost, she's kept it off. She's lost like 60 pounds. She's looking great. She runs, she exercises, and she and I last year hauled ourselves up to the top of Mount Washington. And I credit that part of that is to because of just going to the wellness center in the mornings or wherever you want to go. So
it is cool. I mean, I teach fitness classes and work out all the time, but then when I go hiking or something, it's like, oh, hey, these workouts were worth it because, you know, I can smoke past my husband, or, you know, it makes things that are pleasurable more fun because you can do them. You don't have to worry, am I going to make it to the top? Am I going to be able to do this? But so that's kind of the cool thing. We want to be able to do things. And I think if you're held back by your weight, either emotionally or physically, nobody wants to be there. You talked about these people who lose weight and gain it back. That's not just physical. The emotional side that goes with that. Think of what that does to their social life, their work life. Chances are they're not proud they gained it back. They probably wish that they could have stopped it before it happened, but I doubt they're out there feeling fully like, oh, let me just throw my whole self out there for you guys to critique. I'm sure some of them is like, you know, you introvert yourself. You want to stay home. You don't want to be in public. It's a hard battle. It's not just physical. There's definitely a mental side, and I think that's a huge part of obesity.
Is it really true that men can lose weight easier than women? I know.
So men, on average, have more muscle mass than women. And the more muscle you have, muscle burns more calories than fat. So if you and I eat the same diet, you have more muscle than I do, you're potentially going to burn more calories off than I am. So if we went on the same, let's say 1,500 calorie diet, are you going to be more successful? Maybe. Is it always a perfect, science? No. But in general, men have more muscle mass, higher metabolism. They just burn calories at a higher rate.
Interesting.
So Todd, have you? I know you said you had your ankle problem, or you haven't hit the road or anything, as in running. You used to.
No, I used to run too in my early 20s, and I want to start running again actually. But I was a little sidelined this summer with the ligament tear, but I played golf. That's exercise, right? Golf.
Yeah, chasing a ball around, grown man. Like I live.
I used a cart.
Yeah, use a car.
I had to. I couldn't. One day, this is right when my ankle was really, really bad. My dad's cart died on the fifth hole, and we had to walk the last four, and I was limping to my car. I was in so much pain. But
ankles are hard. Feet are hard. We need them. I mean, that's one of the things. I'm always like, if I get hurt, don't let it be my feet, because you are
hard
limited,
to exercise,
especially like you're probably looking to do cardiovascular work, fat burning, even just lunges and things like that. You need your feet, and to be honest, the ligament really needs to heal before you're going to feel solid.
I tried to use my kettlebell, seeing, well, that's kind of cardio and muscle training, but I couldn't. It hurt. I couldn't, because I had to put all my weight kind of on my right foot, and then I couldn't keep my balance. It's been pretty interesting.
So,
but it's getting better. I'm real close. I'd say I'm about a month or two away from.
You're at the point now, after losing almost 80 pounds, where people must be noticing.
Yeah, and the first 50 went off really, really fast, and I feel like when I went to the doctors the last time and they told me I'd lost like another 17 pounds, I didn't expect it. I thought I'd lost maybe 5, because I'm starting to not feel the weight loss, but I'm noticing that I have to keep going up a notch on my belt. So I bought one of those belts that just has like tons of just different holes. Yeah, I did. And but yeah, especially when people haven't seen me forever. Like this summer, my uncle I only see a couple times a year. He lives in Pittsburgh, and he's actually coming up this weekend, but he came up in July, and the last time I saw him was in November, which I was pretty much at my heaviest when I was in Pittsburgh visiting him. And he just looked at me and went, "Wow." And
It must have made you feel good when you.
It did. It did.
But you've been able to almost make some humor when you were losing weight, because I remember I came in here one day and you were so proud you could actually you could wear real pants. I remember you telling me.
Yeah, I was wearing those Adidas, like soccer track pants. I said, Scott, I can wear real pants now.
It is, we can laugh about it, and I have some clients, and I have a friend who's lost 300 pounds.
Yeah. Wow.
And it's really about the journey. Like, I have one client right now, all she cares about is a number, and, that number is still far away. She doesn't care that now she can wear real pants, now she can tie her shoe, now she can do all these things. You can't get excited about that. I mean,
sure.
If you're just going to wait for a number, this is your life. You have to live it. You have to laugh about it. You're going forward. So, hey, every time you go down that belt, you should be very excited, because that also tells your brain, reinforces, yes, we're doing this, and we're going to keep going, and we're going to feel better and better.
Well, it's my birthday's coming up in a week and a half or so, and she says, do you want some new clothes for your birthday? And I said, no, because I'm not going to be able to wear them in a couple of months. Yeah. I said, so I'm just going to keep what I have until I'm at, maybe not necessarily my goal, but maybe 30 pounds lighter, and then I can kind of get a new wardrobe. But right now I don't want to, because,
Yeah, I think it's important. I try and encourage clients to keep one pair of pants that you knew fit. Those are your pants where you can be like your before and after photo.
Oh, yeah.
But to kind of ditch them as you go, because if you know they're always there, it sounds like you're doing really well, and I don't see you going backwards. But some people could say, I'm falling off, I'm gaining a few pounds. At least I know those old pants will still fit. It's like, no, you want to think, I'm going to have to go buy all new clothes if this happens. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't.
This may sound really strange, but everybody knows my friend Devaney, and she's gained some weight, and she's like, oh, I gotta come up with a new way of losing weight, And I said, well, being diabetic was the best thing for me, because I know if I wake up in the morning, I take my sugar and it's 220 or something. I said, what did I eat yesterday that caused it? Because you want to be around, 70 to 100. And so it's kept me like, I went out down to West Lab to visit her, and she wanted to go to Cantori's, which is a pizzeria.
Yeah.
And normally I would have had like 6 slices of pizza, but I had a salad with no dressing and one slice of pizza, which was like, oh my God. And my sugar was like, after that.
Yeah.
So it kind of, I don't think I'm going to go backwards because I have to make sure that I don't
And you
eat.
want to feel well.
Yeah, sure.
When you start eating healthfully and making different choices, you will feel the difference. A lot of people say, oh, I feel so much better. And if you'd have asked them before they started, did you feel bad? They probably didn't even notice they weren't feeling well. I did a 21-day ultimate reset. It wasn't a weight loss plan or venture, but it was clean eating, nothing from a package. Everything was a fruit, vegetable, whole grain. And when no sweeteners, no nothing, only water. When you do that, it's like, hey, this is how we're supposed to eat.
Right, yeah, sure.
And it's like, oh, I could do this. This is how my body does run better on this. It does give you this natural reset that you now have that's like, wait a minute, I don't need 6 pieces of pizza. I'm going to feel like junk. I'm not going to feel good about myself. Right. I'm literally not going to feel good in the morning. And if everybody can just remember that our bodies aren't created to process huge amounts of food, and why would we have naturally growing things around us if they weren't meant to be consumed,
So you're the diet guru. Why is it though? My wife has noticed this. After I get done eating, particularly dinner, I will eat bacon chocolate if necessary for a fix. I'll drink.
It's a habit.
No. It's a craving. I get a craving for sugar.
It's probably a
baking
habit.
chocolate?
No, anything. I'm saying
There's
any.
like-
No. What
that's-
I'm saying is.
Baking.
I thought you said bacon. I thought you said bacon and chocolate.
What I'm saying is I will eat anything sweet. I'm saying even if it's bacon, chocolate.
Just to get
some
So
sugar in me.
Sugar is like a hard thing. Cravings are real. I mean, you can see them in people's brain scans and waves and things, but it's a habit. You have a habit of eating sweets at night. So if you didn't have one,
I'd have a habit of
you'd be like
sweets
trying to
talking to
make
me.
something that wasn't sweet. So I would suggest just trying 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, however long you want, and just saying, I'm not going to have sweets at
Should
night.
I replace it with a cigarette?
No, replace it with nothing. You can replace it with other
beer.
things like fruit or something, but you should just, anytime we have something that really kind of, like at night, if it's got you like going through the cupboards like crazy,
Drinking
a
maple
food
syrup.
is controlling you. And do we want to be controlled by that? No. So I would just try not doing it for a couple days. Just saying I'm not going to, and then see how you are after.
I do a spoonful of peanut butter after I eat
that does
something.
it?
Yeah. Works for me.
Here's a little bit off of diets, but we also hear about people have stomach surgeries. Is there any time those are appropriate, other than if your doctor wants you?
It's a little controversial for me because I've had a few clients who have had the surgery. The girl I mentioned, Sarah, who's very open, and I think would be a great candidate for your show. She's lost 300 pounds and more.
Yeah.
And she was at a point, I don't know, she'd probably say this now, she was going to die. She was going to die of obesity. Her future didn't look well. When someone's severely obese, I don't think, I could lose weight and still be healthy, and I could still gain weight and not be hugely morbidly obese. But when someone is morbidly obese, what's going on with their body, their skin, their insides, infections, their eyesight, diabetes, it is not a good future. So for someone in that scenario to have a bypass surgery or something like that, in Sarah's case, it saved her life. It motivated her to know that if she did not change how she ate with this surgery, she was going to die because she couldn't continue those habits with it. And with that, she's several years out. I want to say at least 4 years out. Does she still eat junk food? Rarely. Does she eat a very healthful diet? Would she be a great example? Yes. She did it right. She works out every day. She bases her foods around fruits and vegetables, lean proteins. Have I had other clients that had the surgery and still eat Chinese food and pizza in small amounts because that's all they can handle? Yeah. Are they going to be successful? I don't know. Am I worried? Yeah.
You can stretch it back, your stomach back out, can't you?
I've seen some who they lost so much weight having the stomach surgery, but they didn't understand the other component of it. You know, the stomach surgery is very important, but you still have to modify what you eat.
So, I mean, in all honesty, does someone get to 400 pounds or 300, whatever is hugely obese for them, on purpose? No. Everyone talks about people who are rail thin. They don't eat. They have an eating disorder. No one naturally gets severely obese without having some, in my opinion, some type of food addiction or emotional distress that they're fixing with food. So if they can't come to terms with that, either addiction or disorder or, you know, bad relationship, it's the same with any bad relationship. We see it with people who struggle with alcohol or drugs. To many people, food is their drug, and unfortunately, we have to eat it every day to survive. So if they don't deal with that, are they going to be successful? Probably not. Making that stomach small, making it so you can't absorb all your calories, making it so you're very sick if you overeat, that works temporarily. But Todd is it right. Your stomach will start to get bigger. You'll absorb more calories. If you haven't fixed that unhealthy relationship, your results will be the same way they were before.
Now, Todd
It's
and I
expensive
have
too.
Oh, yeah.
now
it's
Todd and I
major.
have a mutual friend who could probably sit down and eat 4 pizzas every day.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Oh yeah.
And Johnny was rail thin in high school. Johnny's now in his 50s, and he's still rail thin, and he can
Yeah.
he
I
can
mean,
put.
we have genetics. We have genes. We have
I think I was adopted because my whole family has never
Yeah.
had a weight problem except for me. So
well, I mean, like my sister.
I'm gonna have to talk to
yeah.
my parents.
Yeah, find out
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
your mother was up to.
Parents are both average size. My sister and I were chubby kids. I mean, we were the two chubby girls playing sports, and just faced that our entire lives. Even now, like people say, "Oh, you work out," and it's like, yeah, you know, it's like you can't always judge a book by its cover. But we do in our life have a fat cell DNA. About puberty age is when it kind of locks in. This is how many fat cells you have. So that's why childhood obesity is horrible, because when you see an obese kid and they're going into their teens and everything obese, their future looks like it's going to be a lifelong battle with obesity. That's why it is important that we work with children and teach parents how to feed their children and exercise and help these kids. We were always super active. I don't remember eating tons of sweets, or I don't remember that in our home. But we were fat kids, and we will fight that as we go forward in the future.
But one of my daughter's doctors, I don't know if it was Dr. Lacaruba before she left, probably was Dr. Lacaruba, said, though, because my daughter is so dedicated to health, because she, even when she was overweight, she was healthy
Right.
in the sense of doing things. She said because she has always had to watch everything, she's always known there's ramifications of putting things in your mouth, that she will probably, she's more likely to have success, though, in the long run than, you know, because her dedication versus that person such as myself, who I grew up, you know, I could be a human garbage disposal in the junk food aisle. And so now that once I hit a certain age, and especially when I served in the State House, I'll tell you, there is an unhealthy lifestyle. All you do is sit. Lobbyists want to feed you, booze you, and I got up my all-time high in the State House. I'd be dead if I ever was in long as
They have a good
Vince
cafeteria
was.
there
Yep.
too.
And the thing is so I think sometimes, though, if you haven't ever had to battle it as a young person and you've been able to gorge yourself, all of a sudden you get to that stage in life where things slow down and all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah, those habits can't keep going. One of the reasons your daughter is obviously so successful, and with Weight Watchers, this is what happens. They learn how many calories your body actually needs, how many you can consume and still lose weight. It's all about being conscious of what you're putting in your mouth and being accountable to it. I'm sure there is a piece of it that is also exercise, and knowing that you can cut calories through food,
Oh, yeah,
you can also cut calories through exercise, and by making lifestyle changes and just knowing that instead of you used to eat 3,000 calories, if you knew you could have 1,500.
On a day I weren't hungry.
Yeah. But if you knew that's all you could do, you would make that, you would make your life work around that number, and that would just be how it is, and that will feel more natural. And as it feels more natural, that's why your daughter's successful. I'm sure that feels more, that's her normal now.
Right, and I should have told you, though, my mother was the original Weight Watcher guru.
Oh.
All my life, my mother swore by Weight Watchers,
Yep.
and it always worked for her for decades.
It's basic, in a sense, calorie counting. Our bodies, we all have a metabolic rate based on our age, our height, our weight, and things like physical activity level that says your body burns this amount of calories at rest, at light activity, moderate, and intense physical activity. Once we know that number, I mean, that's basically your number. Is it easy to stay there? No, especially if you were a human garbage disposal. Is it going to be hard for you to cut back down? Yeah, but if you can slowly get there and then say, this is it, this is my day, and then don't let your life revolve around that number and food, which can be hard, especially people who are overweight. That was the maybe their most significant relationship they had, eating, their food, when they ate. It's a very private thing for many people. And I mean, you'll see a lot of overweight people who won't even eat in public. That's their private thing. So, and we can talk about it and say, oh, it's easy to just eat healthy. It's a very sensitive thing, something we have to do every day. And we've been doing it our whole lives. So to tell someone you can't do that anymore, A, it sucks for that person, and it's hard. I mean,
and you know, I joke about the way I used to eat, but very seldom now. You know, maybe once a week I'll have a piece of junk food. I will. That's it. I will not keep junk food in the house because if it's there, it needs to be eaten. And you know, it's a fact. In my house, if you're gonna if we're gonna get a thing of ice cream for because our boys don't eat junk food either, they're runners, but they do like to be greeted with a thing of ice cream when they come home. We have to buy that like an hour before they get home, because if Dad spots that thing of ice cream, it needs to be eaten.
I guess that's knowing your limits. And I mean, that's why I kind of talk about food as a little bit of like an addiction or a go-to. You have to know your limits. I mean, if you're somebody who can't have chips in the house, you'll eat the whole bag. And guess what? Try not to buy chips. Save it for moments where you're really going to enjoy them or be controlled.
Yeah, but then you see those like Special K healthy chips.
Which are like a chemical cardboard.
Yeah.
So you dabble in that.
I saw those in the store the other day, and I was like, what are these?
And then it comes down to, you know, differential. Someone who's addicted to chips might buy those and be like, oh, this is it. I can eat 10 of these and feel great.
And there's protein in them.
Or somebody might eat the whole box and be like, they still don't taste like chips. I still want chips.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, those aren't real foods. We don't actually need any of those things. So they should be limited. They should be for special occasions. And if we don't have control over them, then kick them out. Don't buy them.
But then you look at you know, some things are so, you know, you look at it and you say, oh, look, these chips, only this number of calories. Oh, I can have these.
Well, that's calories.
But then but then it says, oh, serving size 4.
Right.
Like, wait, how many times have you opened up this big bag of chips?
I'll have 4.
I'm gonna have 4 chips.
Yeah.
You don't have
Well,
it.
even the advertising says that you can't. You bet you can't eat just one.
I mean, then it comes down to nutritional value. Why are we eating? We're eating to fuel our bodies, to support us, so we can feel great, so we can exercise, so we can do our jobs. Nutritional value. Many things that come in a package, not all, have low nutritional value, especially junk food. That's why they're called empty calories. What are we actually getting out of them? Not much. If you focus on the actual nutrients you need in a day, like you have to look at fiber and protein and all those things. If you put those first, there's very few calories left to have your 4 chips. There's maybe enough for the 4 chips. So you have to think about, what is your goal with eating? Is it to eat for pleasure? Is it to eat for health? Is it to eat to feel well? And if you focus on the things that we actually need to fuel our bodies, there isn't much room left. And that's, when I moved back here from Colorado, I weighed now almost 30 pounds more than I weigh now. And I was like, oh my, how did this happen? And it became slowly turning things around about what I was supposed to actually be eating, which we are supposed to have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables a day. I mean, there's foods we're supposed to be eating that some people don't have all month. I mean, they literally never eat them.
You know, I do know, like, if you go in the store, you know, this is economically deprived area. You see some people or you look at the prices, it seems like people can get more food if they eat junk.
Because you're looking at food, but if you looked at it as nutritional value, you could buy a bag of chips, let's say, for $4, or a bag of apples for $4. Chips taste better, maybe they feed more people, but nutritional value is like 0. Or with the apples, they're full of vitamins, minerals, fiber, things you actually need. So when you think of that, yeah, you can buy a lot of junk food that's really cheap, but no nutritional value. It's actually bad for you. It's bad for your body, hard on your body, can give you diabetes, can give you heart disease. Or you could buy healthy food that will fuel you, fill you up, actually keep you going. And you'll see you don't actually always spend that much more on healthy food when you're not wasting money on food that is waste.
It is frustrating though, because I remember this when I first had to start eating healthy. I went to like Price Chopper or Shaw's or something, and I had a hand cart. I live by myself, so I don't have to feed a family, and it's filled with vegetables and fruits and like some fish, and
$80.
Yeah, it's exactly what it was. The guy in front of me had this shopping cart full of, bags of chips, boxed foods, and his whole shopping cart was $55. And then they rang me through, and they're like, $85, please. And I'm like, what?
And you have 2 bags. It literally happened to me at Shaw's
it's
like
ridiculous.
2 weeks ago. I was waiting with 1 cart. It must have been around a specific time, but I mean, just filled. Every conveyor belt was just filled with crap. Here I am with 1 thing. But when you think about it, what is that food costing them in the long run?
Sure.
It's the same thing when it comes to eating well and exercising. People don't want to pay to exercise. Fine, then go do it on your own. But if you don't do it now and you don't invest in healthy foods now, what do we pay later? Medications, doctor's bills, all these different things. Going even further, I mean, diabetes goes too far. You could lose your eyesight, you could lose limbs. All those things cost.
End up on dialysis 3 days a week.
I'd rather spend money now and feel good and feel like I have the energy to live the life I want to live than to save money, eat junk food, feel like junk. I mean, and then sedentary things also cost more.
Well, this year we planted a few. We used to have a big garden, but just time got away from us. This year we had a few tomato plants, which I'm not going to eat a tomato. Yes, I'm fussy, but my wife, it's surprising that she hasn't turned a shade of red yet, because she loves tomatoes.
Fresh tomatoes are awesome.
Yeah, and she brings tomato sandwiches to work. She eats tomatoes like apples, and it's just
it would be awesome here, especially. I mean, we're a low-income area. People are losing jobs right and left. It's hard to say, yes, I'm going to spend all this money on food. But you can grow gardens significantly cheap. Yeah. And if you make those the focus of your meals, there it is. They're readily available. You put time into growing it. You had to water your garden, all these things. People who invest in their food in that way tend to then want to eat their garden and invest in their own health. It's really hard here because we're so limited with the growing season. And it's hard to get people to want to spend money on fruits and vegetables. And that's when we need to educate people about frozen vegetables or how to preserve what they grew in their garden. Because those are the foods we should be eating. Those are the foods we need to actually feel well.
Okay, once we have you hostage now, this you just brought up something is really, is there a difference of organic vegetables versus inorganic vegetables, whatever they are? Because you see the organic section is so much more expensive. Now, what is the difference with me having I don't put anything on my tomatoes. Are those organic, or is this all a gimmick?
I mean, organic can go pretty far with the soil, the seed, all this. To me, there's 3 levels. There's organic, there's locally grown, and then there's these fruits and vegetables that were shipped all over the country in a huge truck, full of pesticides, full of all these things from all over, mingling. So there is a difference in organic. If you take meat, for example, you can buy chicken for $1.99 a pound. Or you could buy organic chicken, cage-free or whatever, for $3.99 a pound. Cheaper to get the cheap chicken, right? If you've ever looked at how these chickens are grown, and it's just like hundreds and hundreds of chickens in very small cages, filled with hormones, pumped up so they can grow faster. They'll literally grow to the point where they break their own bones because they're being forced to grow to be mass produced. So then, yeah, you see the difference. Do I want to spend a little more and get organic and know it's not full of hormones and that it was grown in a nice way? Or do I want to eat this chemical chicken full of God knows what because they don't have to list it and hope for the best? I mean, do I always buy organic? No. Do I wish that I did? Yes. Do I wonder what will happen to kids who are growing up on these chemical hormone foods that are mass produced?
Chicken nuggets.
I can't imagine that are chemical or made. Foods are being made in labs, which blows my mind. And are we going to pay for that? Yeah. Are we already? Yes.
And other countries have laws against that, but our country doesn't because...
There are some laws and...
Well, here and there, but...
I mean, it's even like these placebo drugs we're talking about, and I call them placebos because if they were real drugs, then you could get them at your doctor's office. The FDA would stand behind them. There's drops out there and things that say, yes, you're going to lose weight. Do we even know what's in them? No. Do they have to tell us? No. We just don't always know what we're putting in our bodies. The more we can get educated behind it and really look into it, we're going to make a better investment in our health. It's very easy to be blinded and say, oh, that says I'm going to lose weight. I'll just do that.
Like diet pills, too? Aren't those, like, real horrible for, your heart and stuff?
I did a lot of research before I came today, just in case. I wasn't sure. Almost every diet pill goes on a trial with the diet pill and the placebo. And if you look at when a lot of these things try to apply to the FDA to see if they can be approved. It's almost like Todd and I could do the same thing, and I could be eating Tic Tacs. He could be eating some weird hormone-based synthetic pill, and I might have more success because I really believed in my Tic Tacs. You know?
So it's a psychological
I think
a lot of it is psychological.
Oh, I think so, too. Like you were saying, you don't own a scale.
No.
I couldn't live without a scale because it just kind of... Because, I actually weigh more than a lot of people think I do because my doctor, who's God to me, Dr. Wood, he reminds me that you are right. You do look a lot less, you do look like you weigh a lot less than you do. He says, but you look at, but on the other hand, your body is still, you're still over weight. And so I still have to watch everything.
I mean, even people who are a healthy weight or an average weight, it's not always about weight. It's about health. And that's kind of why I wanted to come on today and talk with you. A lot of people are doing fad diets and risky things to lose weight. It comes to a point where we kind of have to forget the number for a moment because in your daily life, do you want to feel well? Do you want to be the best person you can be? Do you want to live as long as you can? Then you need to eat well and take care of yourself. And you can do that whether you're at a perfect weight or you're at a high weight. But are you going to invest in yourself or are you just going to let everything go, not feel well, end up sick?
But I think some people like it. That isn't the end all for me. But I think some people just, they're visual. They want to be able to...
I have a client who's lost almost 50 inches.
Yeah.
They could care less. They want to see a number.
Yeah.
I hold up a tape measure. I'm like, 50 inches?
That's insane, yeah.
Yeah, but I'd like to be at, 100, And it's like, I get it. I get the scale. I get that's what the doctor looks at. That's what society says. That's what our BMI says. I get it. But are you going to let your life be controlled by a number?
Right.
I'd rather be controlled by how I feel and knowing that I'm independent enough and feel well enough to live my life. And if something happened, I had to run out of this room, I'd be okay to do it. If I fell on the floor, I could get up. Some people can't even get up. They can't tie their shoe.
Right.
To me, it's more important for them to feel independent in themselves than to worry about hitting a specific number.
Well, now that we've gone about a half hour over, is okay, go on.
I just wanted to add one thing. The last time I was in really good shape was when I was doing Ben's boot camp. This is about 3.5 years ago. I was wearing a size 31 pant. I was in very good shape. I was running, and I weighed 240 pounds.
Right, and your doctor probably had to say to you,
I was supposed to be 170 pounds or something.
But you were
80.
fit, you were healthy, you had a lot of lean muscle mass, obviously, and you were able to do probably pretty much anything you wanted to do. And at the end of the day, my hope for people is that they feel well enough to do what they want to do emotionally and physically. And if their weight is holding them back from that, then they've got to look into it, because it is not worth being trapped for a lifetime, feeling bad about yourself and not living your life.
And what I was going to say is, just because somebody, there's a myth that just because somebody's skinny means they're healthy. Because there are people who are very skinny, but they're very unhealthy because they don't, there are some people who can stay skinny and eat like crap, don't exercise, and they're not healthy.
But, I mean, we can't see on the outside. I can't tell your cholesterol right now. I can't tell if your arteries are clogged. We can't tell. And, even rapid weight loss, somebody sees someone who loses a bunch of weight, oh, you look so good. For all they could have diabetes, they could have cancer, they could have something horrible. Everyone is so worked up about how somebody looks. We really don't know. And that's why it needs to be everybody's own personal journey. And we need to respect that. Even though we see someone who loses weight and they gain it back, I shouldn't be personally invested in that, because that's their life. I can want the best for them, but it's their life. They're the ones who have to deal with that. And I can't think they're a less person because they gained weight. It's easy to do. We could all do it. Hey, it'd even be fun to do it in a sense. But
I did it.
These are people's personal lives.
Yeah.
And judging a book by its cover, it's hateful and it's mean. And that's what, really raising awareness. People are so desperate for these fad diets so they can be socially acceptable. They could literally kill themselves. They can ruin their metabolism, all these different things over a number and what they look like. And that's sad.
Okay, Todd,
Yes.
you get the final word. Can it be done?
Absolutely. I did it. I'm still doing it. I'm not where I want to be. I would say within a year I'll probably...
Slipping into spandex?
Yeah. I want to lose 100 pounds. That was my goal. And I think I will.
You're almost there.
I know. I was shocked. 70. So I'm probably going to lose more than 100 pounds. Why not? Why not? But yeah. But I think one I'll try to keep this quick. One way to do it is to let yourself.
You don't have to do it quick. You're the boss.
Yeah, and allow yourself every once in a while to celebrate and
Right.
I do. The first time I had cake though, my dad's birthday it's at the end of January. And so I was like trying not to eat the cake, and I said, well, I should just have. So I had this little piece of cake. It was ungodly amazing.
Sometimes it'll be good, and then other times like,
Now
I can live without that.
Now I'm not. Now I could care less. But yeah, it can be done, but it should be done slow actually, because I've lost it fast, and I gained it right back and then some. So.
Okay, Mary, thank you for coming on, and thank you for doing all you do for the people of the area, and thank you, Todd, for being my boss. Well, you're the director of this station.
That's right. Well, you're fired.
Yeah, but you can't. But on the other hand, you couldn't possibly pay me any less than I'm getting paid.
You were
zero.
the lowest paid person here.
No pay
sure.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I also commend you though for being so upfront, whether it was on the radio or here, about your journey to trying to regain your health. I think more people like you. I think people like you do a real service. Because
it's honest, it's real, and everyone else. A lot of people are in the same boat, and if you lied about it, then they could lie to themselves about it.
Yeah, I learned a long time ago on the radio to be absolutely honest with who you are, and that's I think why Devin and I were so successful before we got fired. Is because we were so open and honest about everything in our lives, whether we were gaining weight or losing weight, and I'll continue to do that.
Hey, you know what I was thinking here? At least maybe I'm wrong. Are you the only one in this crew who hasn't ever been fired before? Have you ever been fired from anything?
I don't think so.
Wow.
Oh, see,
I haven't had that many jobs, though.
I've been fired a lot.
I have to think about it.
So
I've been fired for having good
I used to do
ratings.
theater, and I'd not been cast before.
Oh,
That's
okay.
pretty.
That sucks. Yeah.
All
yeah,
right.
we've done some plays together back in the day.
Yeah. Hey.
my life is sometimes
It is.
my life is simply a theater. I don't need to go into it.
No.
Okay, well, thank you for both coming on, and thank you to the viewers for tuning in to another segment of the Northeast Kingdom Voice.